Feeling the heat of new tariffs, Mexico buckled and is now sending 6,000 troops to its southern border to help stop the flow of illegal migration into the U.S. Tariffs help to win this immediate battle, so why would we enter into a trade agreement that takes them away? We'll discuss its ramifications to American liberty and independence in this episode of Analysis Behind the News. The New American Magazine reported online that, according to Trump, Mexico has agreed it will do its best to stem the tide of migration through Mexico and to our southern border. Trump added that the concession by Mexico will greatly reduce or eliminate illegal immigration coming from Mexico and into the United States. Of course, this sounds great, but we have to ask ourselves the question, can we really trust the government of Mexico? The Washington Times reported that a celebration rally was held in Tijuana over the weekend. Mexico's President López Obrador made the following remarks. We take advantage of being here in Tijuana to say to the people of the United States once more that we do not harbor any intention, nor will we harbor any intention to harm them, and we are resolved to cooperate with them in all areas, especially on the concerns spurred by the growth of the migratory flow to their country, he said. At the same time, we ask for their understanding because the migratory phenomenon doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from the material needs and the insecurity in the Central American countries and in marginalized sectors and regions of Mexico where there are human beings who need to set out on a pilgrimage to mitigate their hunger and their poverty or to save their lives. Yet, Mexico has done all it could to ensure that the migration flow is largely uninterrupted, even to the point of having its police look the other way when barricades were overcome by migrants. Footage was also seen of police giving escorts to those transporting migrants aboard commercial trucks. For decades, Mexico has been giving much aid and guidance to its own citizens who seek illegal entry into the U.S., not to mention of its government's support in wanting to enter into a European Union-style agreement with Canada and the U.S. to create a North American Union. In 2000, then Mexico's President Vicente Fox said, "When we think of 2025, there is not going to be a border. There will be a free movement of people just like the free movement of goods. There will be better relations between the sides. This will only happen if we can close the gap of income disparities between the two economies." In 2002, he also said, "Eventually our long-range objective is to establish with the United States, but also with Canada, our other regional partner, an ensemble of connections and institutions similar to those created by the European Union." And at the signing of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, President Peña Nieto remarked in Spanish, "The negotiation of the Mexico-United States-Canada Treaty made it possible to reaffirm the importance of the economic integration of North America." Ladies and gentlemen, does this sound like Mexico is willing to throw away these aspirations to integrate with the U.S. by helping to close the southern border? It is highly unlikely that they have any intention of stemming the migration flood. We'll have to wait for video evidence to be sure, of course. But lost in all of this is the plight of the tariff, a tool our founding fathers gave us to help raise money and protect American manufacturing. Alexander Hamilton wrote about this in the Federalist paper number 21. Now, the NewAmerican.com explained in an article last August that some founding fathers started off as free traders, but quickly moved to protect the American economy after they gained some real-world experience with the fledgling country, and that by the early 1800s, there was not a modern-day free trader among the bunch. The same article mentions that the War for Independence in 1776 was largely rooted to economics. Steve Bias wrote the article, and he continued in here saying, the control that British regulations placed upon Americans was immense. London Magazine wrote in 1766, the American is apparelled from head to toe in our manufactures. He scarcely drinks, sits, moves, labors, or recreates himself without contributing to the emoluments of the mother country. Well, it seems the same could be said about the cheap products made by the Chinese and other communist countries for the average nowadays American, couldn't it? He continues, by the 1770s, the American colonists were becoming increasingly frustrated at this heavy control of their domestic economy. When Parliament, wanting to bail out the failing British East India Company, passed the Tea Act, turning over to them monopolistic control of the sale of the tea in the colonies, it led to the famous Boston Tea Party on December 16, 1773, when the Sons of Liberty dumped 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor. This was followed by the Intolerable Acts, which were designed to punish Massachusetts in particular and impress upon other colonies the consequences if they did not obey. The Intolerable Acts closed the port of Boston, limited town meetings, made British officials basically impervious to criminal charges by ensuring their trials happened in Britain and more. Instead of obeying, the colonies broke into armed rebellion in 1775 and finally declared independence in 1776. The difficulty of fighting the war without manufacturing already established against the greatest manufacturing power on earth only intensified the desire of the colonists to establish not only political independence, but also economic sovereignty. As historian John Miller explained in Origins of the American Revolution, many Americans recognized that if the colonies were to wage successful economic war with the mother country, it was necessary that they manufacture for themselves the necessities they had formerly imported from Great Britain. In other words, it was experience that taught the Founding Fathers the important lesson of the need for economic independence if they were going to maintain their political independence. Now, folks, to maintain our economic independence, we must protect the tariff. But modern free trade agreements are written to either take away or severely limit the tariff. So as we asked last week, if you don't think Americans should give up such an effective tool as the tariff, please contact President Trump and Congress today to tell them to stop the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement and all deals that give away American sovereignty. Then get others to do so as well. Contact information is available in this video description or at jbs.org/NAFTA. We need to keep the pressure on them, and your help is very much needed. And please consider joining other patriots at the John Birch Society. Membership opportunities are available at the same page.